So if I was to be a sensitive soul in this lifetime, do you have any, can you shed any light on how I could operate in order to have a more fulfilling or happier life?
Mm. First of all, to understand everything is a choice. And there is not so much the problem with empathy, it is the lack of, shall we say, understanding of self. Does this make some sort of sense? In other words, if you are empathetic in a natural sense, you will sense what someone is going into or through, and you will feel what it is, but you will not be overwhelmed by it. You will start to see that it is not useful for either. And one begins to access what is missing. In other words, when you are on one side of the polarity, then the other becomes more accessible. Does this make sense? You want to create and magnetize, draw to you that which is not available in one side. You follow what I mean?
Yeah, so that could balance you out.
Of course, then you are finding balance. You are starting to see, no, I will not become overwhelmed by this person's needs. I will not be sucked into this, but I will hold because I recognize that one side of this, shall we say, you are in the experience or the music language, then one has to ascertain what is the logic. In other words, what is the mathematics of this? Do you understand when you see it in terms of mathematics? What is, in order to, shall we say, arrive at your zero, your balance point, what is it that needs to be resolved in this formulation? I want to say, in your school days, you were given, shall we say, what is called, the quadratic equations. You were asked to perform this task. But you have not understood that mathematics applies to life. It is not something outside. So if you can understand what the functions in the equation relate to, in other words, what is it that is being overly expressed, and what is it that is not being expressed, then how does one resolve that? Do you understand what is the missing ingredient? What is the solution to the equation? Even looking at it in that sense, as soon as you say, I am feeling overwhelmed, then you stop and sit at your table and ask yourself, what is missing? What is the equation? You are shifted out of the state of overwhelm. You are putting it, breaking it down into functions. Does this make some sort of sense?
what I'm hearing from you is, now correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm sure you'll do, is that applying logic, so the maths, would that be the same or similar to saying moving from the heart to the head and
Of
balance?
course,
Yeah. So
of course.
the music is the heart and the maths is the mind.
Of course, and they are designed to work in harmony. If you allow one to be dominant, then you lose sight of the other.
So,
And shall we say, when they come together, you are given the third, which is what action to take.
okay.
You understand, there is such a desire to be one or the other. They are the polarities. And such polarities come, shall we say, to balance when through the act of the law of magnetism, in other words, the law of manifestation.
So, someone that might have an overly emotional reaction or the sensitive reaction, potentially they are not balanced, too much coming from the heart, and can apply logic, and vice versa.
And vice versa. Of course, if someone, you understand, the difficulty is more with the logic, because if one senses that one is logical, one is dispassionate and separate from the world. And that causes as many problems. You understand, if you want to belong, which is an important characteristic, one has to have heart. But if you have heart without logic, you will be, shall we say, blown in the wind. There is no direction, and everything will push you off track. Of course, very few people are extreme in either end. Of course, in some sense, the logic tends towards the autism, as you put it. And the heart, of course, tends to be incapable of any action at all.